Hello, good evening. This is Terry Allen, the Radical Progressive. It is August 12th, 2020, and listen to the media. Boy, it's just a frenzy of excitement. Kamala Harris is Biden's VP pick. Glorious. The Wall Street bankers are all lining up to support them. Hollywood. This is nuts. This is nuts. It's like bad theater. It's all window dressing. You know, the old term, putting lipstick on a pig. It's crazy. It's nuts. I have been a Democrat all my life. I became independent when the Democratic Party stabbed Bernie Sanders in the back in 2016. I was done. I saw what was really going on at that point. I had voted for Obama. I really thought that finally, when he said hope and change, I really thought that something good was finally going to happen. We got rid of W. I know everybody talks about Trump being the most dangerous president ever in the history of blah, 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 but I think W is the most dangerous. Look what we got. The neocons and 9/11 and this psycho idiot going to war when they knew there was no WMD, and they joked about it. Oh, there's no WMD under here. Remember that speech that he gave to his so-called base, all the Wall Street bankers? It was just sickening. So we get Obama, and I was excited. I seriously thought the wars were going to end. They were going to shut down Guantanamo. I believed the bullshit. I was hoodwinked. We were all hoodwinked. Look what he did. He bailed out the frickin' banks for trillions of dollars. And how many homes were foreclosed on? I lost my home. My business went down the shithole. I didn't get a penny from the government. I had to lay off my employees. I had nothing to do with the housing industry. I was dealing in the printing industry. I had to lay off my employees. I got out of my building. My life was wrecked. I didn't get a frickin' penny from the government. But the banks sure did. And look what they did with the money. They all gave themselves bonuses. And they bought their stock back. And what's the difference between a corporate Democrat and a corporate Republican? Nothing. No difference. It's the same bullshit. And here we go with Biden and Kamala. Whoop-de-doo. I'm so frustrated because I listen to the media and I listen to the pundits, and they're all just, all giddy about the situation. Biden is a molester of women. There's stories about him that he's done. I believe the Tara Reid story. She's credible. But, the Me Too movement, they overlook all this stuff because it's, blue no matter who. Let's get rid of Trump, this fascist, this crazy psycho. After seeing what Obama did and what Hillary Clinton did in Libya and Syria and continuing the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and bailing out the frickin' banks, and 10 million homes, I don't remember exactly the number, were foreclosed on. The banks bought them all up at cheap prices. People that had been paying on their mortgages for years lost their homes. The banks resell them and start making money again. It is sickening. And here comes Kamala. She's going to save the day because she's a black woman. Right in the middle of this Black Lives Movement Black Lives Matter movement and the situation with police brutality. Well, Kamala is guilty of all of that. What is wrong with people? They're morons. They don't see what the real situation here. It doesn't matter if she's a woman or she's black or a woman of color or a white guy, or who cares? Blue, green. That's the whole point about this racism, is that we're supposed to be colorblind. Genetically, we're all the same. We're human beings, Homo sapiens. What matters is what they stand for and what they're going to do to fix the problem. That's the issue. When you're dealing with a one-party system in this country, and that's what it is, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party always vote on the same thing. We end up getting the same shit. The progressives are pretty good. They've kind of folded. They've kind of lost their momentum. They've kind of gone along with Pelosi and her bullshit, her out of touch, God-fearing bullshit. It's all lies. These people are lying. They don't believe in anything except being in power. They're not for the underprivileged. They're not for the working class in any form. What do you think Wall Street banks and Hollywood rich people and everybody's jumping behind Biden and Kamala? It's ridiculous. Trump, Pence, Biden, Kamala Harris, it doesn't matter. It's all the same shit. Look at Biden's record. NAFTA was a freaking economic disaster for this country. The crime bill. Apparently Harris had something to do with the crime bill. Putting more police on the streets. Lock more people up. The war on drugs. Let's fill up the prisons. Because we get really good, cheap labor from prison labor. My friend of mine has a daughter that was in the state prison, and she was on the firefighting team. They had it's a program. Well, what's happening? They put the prisoners right out on the front line, put them in danger, fighting fire. The wildfires here in California. McDonald's has all their uniforms made by prison labor. Walmart has all of their trucks loaded by prison labor. I mean, you go on and on. That's slave labor. 22 cents an hour that the prisoners get. Oh, that's really awesome. Trying to compete with our own industry here, our own labor. You might as well, they're moving all the businesses to Asia, to cheap labor pools. That's Biden. Trump said he was against that, but nothing's changed. These, both parties are corrupt. They're for the super rich. They don't give a fuck about the working class. We are in serious trouble. And if you think that Biden and Harris are going to step in and save the day, then you're an idiot. You're a fool. Because you're uneducated. You're ignorant. You have no idea because you've been watching CNN and MSNBC if you're a Democrat. You've been watching Fox if you're a Republican. You know nothing. You don't know history. You don't know what these people have done. It's sickening. One of the things that Biden and Trump have in common is that they've all done the same shit. They've all put their hands on women inappropriately. They've all made women feel uncomfortable. But the Democrats overlooked Biden, so how are they going to attack Trump on that if Biden's done the same thing? They can't. Trump and Biden, there's very little difference. I talk to people that will do anything just to get rid of Trump. But fascism is not what you think. Yeah, you have a authoritarian personality, but the main point of fascism is not the government running business, but the business running the government. That's fascism. And that's what we've got. And that's going to continue under Biden and Kamala Harris. Nothing fundamentally is going to change, and that came from Biden's own lips. That's why Wall Street is rushing to back him up, because they are so excited. Virtue signaling. Oh, look at us. Look at the beautiful dresses that Kamala wears. You know, I asked on Twitter, because there's a picture of him hugging Kamala, and it looks like he's smelling her hair just like he does all the other women he hugs. How's her hair smell, Biden? Okay, that's what this is all about. It's window dressing. This is nuts. We have a serious problem ahead. We're going to have millions of people in the street. It's going to get bloody. The government's going to fall. We are going to go into chaos. And we're worried about these two morons that are going to save the day. What is wrong with you people? You have no clue. The Americans deserve collapse because the population are idiots. Idiots on both sides. This is a one-party system in this country. It's called the shit party. Democrats and Republicans are fighting each other about what? They're both for the same shit. They're both for giving tax breaks to billionaires and business. They're both for cutting welfare and food stamps, but they're not for cutting military. I guarantee you that if Biden and Harris get in, we are more likely to get into World War III than under Trump. Because Trump had a moment of sanity when all this stuff was going on, heating up with Iran. I think he realized that Russia and China were going to back Iran, and if they came in, we were going into World War III. And I think he realized that. Bolton went crazy. Okay, the people around him, everybody, the Democrats, the Republicans, everybody was clamoring to bomb Iran. Remember that song? That idiot from Arizona, McCain, bomb, 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 bomb Iran. Seriously? It's... God. I don't think we're going to make it. We're not going to make it to the election. Because, Trump did this executive order on Saturday where he's going to give $400 extra to the unemployed. Well, the states can't even afford the maximum of $450 a week for unemployed. Some people are getting, I talked to someone today, their daughter is unemployed. She was making $12 an hour. She's getting $150 a week from unemployment. Who's going to live on that? Who? In what state can you live on that? And if they throw in another $400 where the federal government's going to print up the $300, but they want the state to come up with the other $100, the states don't have that. So if the state doesn't come up with $100, then the federal government is not going to put in the $300. So it's all bullshit. It's all lies. All the rhetoric that Kamala is a left-wing, radical, progressive is nuts. It's insane. She is not. She goes with the wind. One day she's for Medicare for all, the next day she's not for it. One day she's for UBI, the next day she's not for it. She only cares about power and getting elected. She doesn't care about the common people in this country that need help in this pandemic situation with our economy crashing. Oh, God, people, wake the fuck up before it's too late, because once these 30 million people are out on the street with no money and no food, it's gonna get nasty. I lived through the Rodney King riots when stores were being looted, and I can tell you this is going to be 10 times worse. And in California, You can't get out of this area here in LA because we only have 3 ways to get out. The 5, the 101, we can get on the 10, maybe on, if you get down to San Diego, you can get on the 40. But if you don't have enough money for gasoline, how far are you going to get? Maybe to the Arizona border? You can roast over there in the desert and just die of dehydration. We're screwed. They shut off power and water. We are screwed. We are dead. Do you think the federal government's going to help anybody? You're sadly mistaken. They're going to keep that money flowing into the military. They're already talking about going after Venezuela again. You know, we interfered with the Bolivian election. We're trying to put in a right-wing idiot into Venezuela against Maduro. They're lying about Maduro, saying he's a tyrant and he's this and that. He pissed off the oil companies like Chavez did. And that's why we're there. It's for oil. Not because we care about any kind of moral. We don't have any moral standing down there. We prevented medicine. We're preventing medicine and food getting into that country. Look what we're doing to Iran. We're crushing them. How do you, the whole situation with Cuba? Oh, Cuba was, Castro was a communist. Give me a freaking break. As soon as he came in there, because he threw out the casinos. He threw out the runners of the plantation, Chiquita Banana, United Fruit Company. He kicked them all out because they were running these plantations like slave labor camps. He's not a great guy. Okay, I didn't like Castro, but the things that he did were for the common people. All the rich people left. He gave their homes to the poor. He kicked out the casinos. The mob was pissed. They wanted back in. They would do anything to get back into that country. I have debates with my mother-in-law because she's from Cuba. But she had to leave, okay? She got free college. She was a doctor. But she decided that she wanted to leave. Well, in Cuba, they will pay for your education. But the deal is you got to work for them for 10 years, okay, to pay off your education. So, it's not the greatest system. I've been in one of their hospitals. It's very underfunded. But everybody gets care. They have their Medicare for All system. They have their free college system. They're not great, but what happened was that we put an embargo. We encircled Cuba. Everything that Cuba had was American. All of their electrical equipment, their automobiles, their water system, everything was made with American products, American equipment. When we put an embargo on them, we prevented them from getting spare parts for all their equipment, for their farming equipment. We put an embargo on all kinds of stuff that they needed. And so what ended up happening, their sugar, cane sugar, and their tobacco were their 2 main crops, which the United States used to buy all of it. Couldn't sell it. Getting ready for harvest. Here comes the Soviet Union. We'll buy it, but you got to cut a deal. There's nothing for free. We want to put nuclear weapons on your island. Okay? That was the deal. Castro didn't have a choice. He was screwed. So, history is not what you think. Okay? And if you think Biden and Harris are going to do anything different, they are corporatists and they are just as fascist as Trump, because they are for big business, high-tech. Mnuchin over there, the banker that should have been arrested and put in jail, she didn't do anything to the banks. Nothing. She let them go scot-free. Any of the fraud that was going on with the tech industry, scot-free. But boy, she put in marijuana abusers. She put them in jail. She kept them in jail over the period of time when they were supposed to be released, because it was going to interfere with the prison labor system. Now, what kind of person does that? Okay? That's not a person with a heart or a soul. Okay? So she's tough. Yeah, she's a tough woman. But in the wrong way. She's tough on the working class, but not on the rich. That's her donor class. Same thing with Biden. God help us. That's all I can say is God help us, because our future looks pretty bleak. And I am sick and tired of listening to the media and the bullshit. And I'm sick and tired of some of the progressives that say, gotta vote for Biden because he's better than Trump. Really? Explain it to me how he's better. In what way? Okay, in what way? They're not going to do anything about defunding the police and moving money from the police department more into social services. They're not going to take money from the military. They're not going to take money from Wall Street. They're not going to create a wealth tax. They're not going to do any of the progressive things. Not a single goddamn thing. And Bernie's right there, ready to support him. Trump's the most dangerous president in American history. Really? What about W? That dumbass. What about Cheney, Rumsfeld? These guys should have been in prison. But Obama and his attorney general took it off the table. Didn't do shit to the bankers. Didn't do anything to the war crimes. They committed more. They were for the Patriot Act. They were for the NSA. Things got worse under Obama, not better. So I had a great hope that a black man would have a heart and a soul, and he would know what it was like to be oppressed, and he would be for the working class, and it was all media hype and bullshit. It was marketing. Just like Trump. He marketed that he was going to crack down on the banks, and he was going to bring back Glass-Steagall, and he was going to drain the swamp. He didn't do any of that. These politicians are all liars. That's what they are. They're liars. They will do whatever they have to do to get elected. They will say whatever they have to do to get elected. You know, like Hillary said, I've got a public opinion and I've got a private opinion. And when I'm talking before Wall Street bankers, then I'm not going to do anything different. Don't worry. But when I'm in public and I'm giving a speech to working class, oh, we're going to crack down on them. It's bullshit. It's ridiculous. So either way, we're screwed. It doesn't matter who gets in. It doesn't matter who you vote for. At this point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, I'm an atheist, agnostic really, but there's no point in praying because at this point, the God, if there is one, he's sick of the whole thing. He's done. Okay? There's no miracles. There's no saviors. We are screwed. So good luck, everyone. You know, when blood's running down the streets, you have no one to blame but yourself. Okay? Because you should not have voted for these idiots, these liars. You should have gotten out there and got progressives. I would run for office, but I've had a couple of DUIs, and you know how that would happen with the media. They would latch onto that, and I would not be qualified. Oh my God. But I would be able to get some progressives in there, and I would kick some frickin' corporate ass. Just like Cenk would have at TYT. But they found a couple of stupid things that he said 20 years ago, and they got on that, and boy, look out. But Biden has done the same shit, and we're going to look the other way. We're not going to talk about, him, sexually assaulting Tara Reid and whoever else. The Secret Service had a story about Biden that he used to walk around the house naked in his house and make eye contact with the Secret Service that had to guard him when he was vice president. The Secret Service said they had to keep the women away from him because he was always grabbing their breasts and smelling their hair, giving them hugs and stuff. There was a story about how a Christmas party, the Secret Service was there, and one of the guys brought his girlfriend or his wife, and Biden grabbed her breast. And they almost got in a fight. He said, "This is my wife you're doing this to." They kept the women Secret Service agents away from him because they knew what he would do. Is that story going to come out? It's common knowledge. Media going to talk about it? Boo, no. It's never going to come out. Tara Reid, they interviewed her. She was credible. Let it go, But they went all over Trump about his escapades. So, good luck, everyone. I could go on and on. But you know the truth. But you're looking the other way because you think that Trump is much worse than Biden. And he's not much worse. He's the same. So there you go. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Let's see if the Senate comes back from their little vacation. Congress and Senate are doing nothing. They're not voting on anything. Unemployment's run out. They're not doing shit. We're not making it to the election. It's going to be chaos. So have a good evening, everybody. Enjoy the chaos that's coming. All right? Have a good night. And those of you that believe in God, you better start praying. All right? Okay. It's Terry Allen signing off. I hope it all works out somehow. Good night.